Thanks for joining today's Snapshot for Dr. Martin Luther Church. You should be aware that somebody tried to scam some staff members in my name, making up a fake email address for me and saying that I needed some money sent to me right away by cards that would be purchased off eBay. That's not me. And don't give in to any kind of hoax like that. I think they got the email addresses of our staff people off the website, so I don't think you'll hear anything, but just a warning. I also want to tell you that we'll have 2 more outdoor services. The weather forecast for this Sunday is great, and then our last outdoor service will be on the 20th. I hope you can make one of those if you're comfortable doing so. And I think we'll have a good last time together outdoors before we move indoors on the 26th and 27th. That week, we start up a lot of activities. We have the newsletter coming out at the beginning of October. We're going to be having a youth group meeting on the 27th after church. Sunday school starts in earnest on the 27th. Groups can meet. There will be Bible studies. Consequently, since we have a fuller schedule, I'm going to cut back on the snapshots. And in preparation, there will be snapshots next week on Wednesday and then one other day. And then after that, probably twice a week. Well, 9/11, of course, is one of the most infamous days in our history, rivaling December 7th. And we all remember where we were when what we experienced on that day. I think it's important to be sensitive to the people who lost so much on that day. So I recently read a book called Voices from the Air, 9/11, Voices from the Air, actual transcripts of recordings from that day. It's a massive project. I couldn't get through it. It's just too taxing emotionally. And we understand what people go through. And when I was, 6 months after 9/11, I went with a group of pastors out to New York, to the Metropolitan New York Synod, to provide some respite to pastors out there who'd worked so hard and exhaustively ministering to their congregation. I went to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Kingston, New York, up the Hudson, preached there, met in an adult forum, and went out to lunch with people afterwards. I was impressed with a couple of things about Redeemer Lutheran in Kingston. Very cordial and welcoming and hospitable. Their hors d'oeuvres were like you'd see at a fancy cocktail party out east, and that's what they did every Sunday. It wasn't just for me. And I went to lunch with them, and as I said, and we talked a lot about their experiences. It was so interesting that everybody I met knew somebody personally who had passed away on 9/11, often very young people. Neighbors, people in their own family, people down the block. The grief was palpable. That's the same kind of grief that people are feeling out in California right now, dealing with the wildfires in that state as well as in Washington and Oregon. You wonder, what can I do? Well, we can't ignore the grief they suffer. I'm reminded by my wife of a Talmudic interpretation that says, do not be overwhelmed or daunted by the grief of the world. What you can do is you can do justly now. You can love mercy now. You can walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work. Neither are you free to ignore it. So what can we do as we do not ignore it as this suffering goes around our world right now? Lutheran Disaster Response and Lutheran World Relief are great vehicles for you to help in at least some way, so we don't ignore the problems. God bless you today. Look forward to this weekend. Bye-bye.